Welcome to this episode of Aging to Perfection. I am your guest, Mel, or your host, I should say, Mel Seifert. I am powered by AARP Michigan, so we are so excited to bring you this next episode in our series of getting healthy in the new year. So our next episode is going to be, I grew up in the En Vogue era. They were one of my favorite artists back in the day, and I remember they had a song, and one of the lines was, "Free your mind and the rest will follow." And so we want to have a conversation about mental health in the new year. I know for me, it's such a buildup. I'm so excited about the holidays. I'm so excited about the lights. And it feels like when it's January 1st, all those lights come down. There's no more hype. There's no more really fun holidays coming up until the spring, right? And so it's always a little time to kind of take a step back, figure out what you need, what brings you joy outside of that crash of the holidays. So I'm very excited to have with me today Paula Johnson. She's an occupational therapist and a naturopath. So welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So, we had talked a little bit before this about, how do you stay mentally healthy?
Right.
What does that look like? And maybe not medications, but we're going to talk about that a little bit too. But other solutions to this outside of medication per se.
Right. Well, what's interesting about mental health is that we don't necessarily think about it being connected to our gut health. So, but it's hugely connected to our gut health. So, what I'm going to kind of talk about today is not so much the mental aspect or of doing talk therapy or things like that, which is equally, if not more important. I'm a big proponent of that. But more so what is kind of the physical piece and what can we do about it if we want to try to improve our gut health naturally.
Right.
So
more free your gut than free your mind is what you're
Correct. So when you take care of your gut, you're going to take care of your mind. And the reason that is there's something called the gut-brain axis. So we look at there's the vagus nerve, which goes into the digestive system, and it's an autonomic nervous system thing. So we're not having to pay attention to when we're hungry, when we're not, all of those kinds of things. But that is an autonomic nervous system aspect that will tell you what you need and what you don't need. Well, the gut is one of these things. They call it the microbiome. That's a very big buzzword right now. All that really means is what bacteria is in your gut.
Right.
And what we've learned is that there's good bacteria and bad bacteria. Antibiotics kill that bacteria. Kills all of it. Kills the good and the bad. It can't differentiate. Eating a lot of things with fiber, foods with fiber, are going to help build the good bacteria. Okay. So the goal is that you want to build as much good bacteria because the gut is also in charge of keeping the immune system up and at 'em. So if you're a person that's sick a lot, so that's probably going to say that your immune system is struggling because your gut microbiome isn't working as well. The other pieces are neurotransmitters, your serotonin, your dopamine, all the different neurotransmitters that help with calmness, that help with excitability, helping just us maintain kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
Those are also built in the gut. And so 85% of them serotonin is built in the gut, not in the brain.
Wow. So
when you're looking at those things, you think, oh, yeah, if you're eating a highly processed diet, more than likely you're going to have a little bit more anxiety or a little bit more depression. It just goes hand in hand. So it's really important when you're looking at those aspects to say, okay, maybe I can do something about this mental health piece that I'm just feeling very anxious all the time.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And I know going through menopause and different aspects of perimenopause, that's when anxiety kind of rears its ugly head. And there's there's a lot of changes that are happening in the gut at the same time.
Okay.
So that's what's going on there. So to look at aspects of things, what can you do? Okay. One thing is take a probiotic. So probiotic is going to put those good gut bugs back in. And if you want to know what kind, it's just start somewhere.
Okay.
I usually tell people to get, do at least 50 billion, I think they're called CIUs. It means colonies of of bacteria with 12 different strands, which means 12 different types of bacteria. But if you take anything, just take something.
Okay.
Just try. And if it's in the refrigeration, it's usually a little bit better. But there is shelf stable ones.
Are you recommending everybody do this? Like, how do you know if your gut health isn't great? Because some people might just be living with it day to day and be like, this is my norm. This is how I feel.
Right. But it takes about 3 months for probiotics to kind of really work and do their magic. If you're somebody, again, I would work with your physician, your healthcare provider. If you're somebody who has a lot of like really intense gut issues, like you might have SIBO, which is small intestine bacteria overgrowth.
Okay.
You're not a candidate for probiotics because you could be feeding the wrong bugs. So it's looking at some of those things. So that's why I said work with your healthcare provider on that one. But if you're a person that has bloating or just general kind of, you're not at ease at all, this is something possibly to try.
Okay.
Another thing would be prebiotics. So prebiotics are basically, it's like what's going to feed the good gut bugs. And you don't need to go out and get a prebiotic fiber. You can just eat fiber. Just eat things with fiber, and you're going to feed your gut really well. That good bugs in your gut. The other thing is omega-3 fats, because omega-3 fats are going to help to boost your brain health. It's going to boost everything in your body in terms of bringing down inflammation, building up different aspects of your neurotransmitters, things like that. So that's another piece that you can do physically as far as taking a supplement would be your omega-3 fats.
And so what would be an omega-3 fat?
Good question. So omega-3 fats are going to be your cold water fish, your salmon, your mackerel, your herring, your tuna, those things.
Okay.
But there's a caveat with that is we also know that there's a lot of mercury in some of those fish.
Right.
So that's why I do the cod liver oil that's flavored.
Okay. Take a shot of it every morning?
Yep. Take a tablespoon. It's 1 tablespoon per 100 pounds. And that kind of meets those needs.
Sure.
Because we're not getting that stuff in our food anymore. It used to be in our topsoil, so it would be transferred into our food. It's no longer there. So it's a little bit more difficult. The other thing to start with, which is much cheaper than cod liver oil, is either flax seeds or chia seeds.
Okay.
Have great omega-3 benefits, and they're very, very cheap.
I put those in my oatmeal every day.
Perfect.
Yeah, you don't even taste them. It's like there's nothing really there.
Yep.
It's fabulous.
So that's a really nice way of boosting your health for a very cheap amount of money. And then walnuts and pecans are the only nuts that carry the omega-3 fat.
So they always say if it looks like a brain, it's better for you, right?
Yes, correct.
So those two nuts, kind of. But not in cookie form, I'm assuming, because that's not going to help you as much.
Well, if that's the only way you're going to get them, maybe.
Okay, let's go. Yeah. So that's really interesting. So what else do you have to share about gut health and mental health?
I really feel like having some kind of mindful practice, whether it's prayer or mindfulness or meditation. I also do Reiki, gratitude journal, just something to try to bring the light into your life in terms of like what brings you joy, what things do you really need to do more of. Maybe you need to start, pull out that book. I remember when I was such a busy mom and all that, I never had a time to read a book.
Yeah.
And I look back at it now and I'm thinking, I wish I would have read that book a little bit more, because it probably would have brought me more joy and balanced me out. Also, the vitamin D, getting yourself out in sunshine if you can. I know some people use those sunshine lights. You can get those. Yeah. Those lights are really great. Magnesium, I can't say enough about as far as a supplement. Magnesium's a very cheap supplement. It's the relaxing mineral for your body. So it's going to work on your muscles, your brain. If you have headaches, it's going to work on all of those, helping you to sleep, to calm to sleep. Epsom salt baths, which are magnesium, are also excellent for helping you to relax and unwind and just calm down. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm just thinking about this for my children as well, right?
That, it's excellent for children.
I mean, my daughter's just bougie, so she already takes Epsom salt baths with lavender because that's just who she is.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm just thinking about, food does something to your body that, supplements may not be able to.
Right.
But I was going to ask you, so do you think the pill form of cod liver oil has any benefits over the liquid?
Here's what I say. I'm kind of a all or nothing gal. So it's like, I just say, take that spoonful of cod liver oil, get her done.
Yeah.
Because if your body's going to have to break down that capsule.
Yeah.
And to get the amount that you need, you're going to have to take about 15.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, squeeze out a little capsule and you'll see it's like the tiniest amount when we're talking about a tablespoon a day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
so
crazy.
You're going to get more bang for your buck with the liquid. And it's lemon flavored. There's also like Barlean's is a company I recommend for parents with small children because they have these really yummy flavors like mango swirl. It looks like a little pudding.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, so there's companies out there, Nordic Naturals, Barlean's, Carlson's, all really good brands that have flavors now. So just open up. Yeah. Take a spoonful, get her done.
I love it. And I was going to mention too, and you alluded to this as well, that if you are seeing a mental health professional, obviously this is not going to replace that.
No, it's actually more an addition. Mm-hmm. It's an addition to looking at all aspects of your health.
Yeah. So one of the things I learned, I don't know, in the last 10 years or maybe even less than that, is that when you're in a grocery store, your goal is to shop around
the periphery.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Do not shop in the middle because that's where most of the processed foods are. I mean, obviously you're going to need some things through there, but mainly your basket should be filled with all of those things. Mm-hmm. The walls.
Parameter of the grocery store. And then you also look for all your vitamins and nutrients are going to be in those phytonutrients in your fruits and vegetables. So if you have a very colorful basket, with a lot of different colors in there of the fresh foods, you're probably hitting all the areas.
So tips that we've learned is definitely take a probiotic. A lot of your mental health is obviously, from what we learned today, is in your gut. But what are the best foods to eat to really heal yourself up after the holidays? I'm sure we're all going to be bloated. We're all going to be, depressed, as we kind of said before. But, what's the, I'm not going to say quick fix, but what's something that you can start doing really early on in the new year to help you out?
Well, I would say maybe start incorporating some more, like I was saying, some of those good fats back into your diet. So whether, like you had mentioned, like maybe doing some flax or some chia or whatever on your oatmeal. So that's an easy way to sneak that in. You will feel it. I know when I don't have my cod liver oil, I feel it. I don't feel as calm. And that's the number one thing I can say that really worked. I had a child, just a really quick story. I had a child that I was working with as an occupational therapist, and his mom said, the only thing I want him to do is be able to sit at the table. He cannot sit. He was just so very hyperactive. And so I said, well, okay, here's the deal. And he liked a lot of sugar. So we only can change so much things. So I said, why don't we just start with this cod liver oil? Because she had some in her fridge for herself. And I said, why don't we? So he was taking a teaspoon a day. The 2 weeks I came back, the kid was like a different kid. And I said, did you change his diet? She said, nope. She said, he's still eating just as much sugar, but guess what? He can sit at the table now long enough. He asked for the cod liver oil. He asked for his mommy oil. And he knew that it helped his brain. It helped him to calm down. And that was one of those testimonials that I wasn't expecting, but in my practice of just working with the children, it's like because so much goes a long way with the kids.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I definitely couldn't call it cod liver oil and my kids would want to take it. So
you could just say, it's your lemon oil.
Right. It's your medicine. Just take it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, it's just so interesting to me how much gut health is influencing our mental health. And I do love the combination of, the probiotics, fish oil, nuts, flax seeds, all this thing. Sometimes those aren't easily found by people. You have to kind of go maybe to a health store or, I know I go to Meijer, who doesn't, here in this great state of Michigan, and they more have supplements than they do some of these other things. So, for somebody who may not know where to start, where do you find these great things?
Well, you can first go to your local, go to your Meijer, your local grocery store, and they're carrying more and more of these things. I know they carry probiotics. I know they carry magnesium for sure. Yep. The cod liver oil gets a little tricky because you do want to get a good source because you want to make sure that the mercury has been looked at. Sure. So they've pulled that mercury out. So that's where you might go to a health food store for that or online. Okay. They carry all these different brands online. But again, going back to the food piece, I know if people have a lot of gut issues and they can't do all these foods, a lot of people can't do fruits and vegetables raw.
Yeah.
To start with, just start making some, it's going to be, after the new year, it's going to be cold.
Yeah.
So just doing more like crock pot meals.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you're breaking down all those foods that maybe they couldn't handle on a raw basis.
Yeah.
The carrots, the onions, the different things with the meat and that kind of thing. That's a great way. Stews and crock pot and those kinds of meals are really, really gentle on your gut. So if you're a person that has issues with digesting, then that's a really great way to
I love
start.
That.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So to sum up this great conversation today, and I hope you had to have learned something because I had no idea that gut health was associated with your
It's a new topic. It's only been around it's coming. That's why you're hearing about it all the time right now, because it's really been around for only 10 years.
Yeah.
In terms of what they know about the microbiome, and they're learning more and more about it all the time.
Awesome. Well, I think this is really going to help out a lot of our listeners coming into the new year. So I appreciate you being here, Paula. Such great information. And again, make sure that you're checking your gut health to make sure that you are your best version coming into the new year.
Yay.
And that just falls in line with, you're listening to Aging to Perfection, here to guide you through all the nuances of aging and making sure that you're doing it perfect. My name is Mel Seifert. I am your host, and we are powered by AARP Michigan. So everybody, I hope that you listened, and it's a great segmentation into staying perfect.
Yay.